All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Lady Problems, your source for powerful, honest, and vulnerable conversations about the struggles we all face and how we can get through them so that we can be stronger together. I'm your host, Casey Jade. I am a Vegas-based personal branding and boudoir photographer that works with women who want to see a positive change in the world, start with themselves by helping them get back their time and step into a stronger sense of self-worth from the boardroom to the bedroom. And today we have my amazing friend, Kat Secor. Coach Kat, who's also known as Kat Secor, is a women's transformation expert and works alongside her mom, Dr. Mimi, as Coach Kat and Dr. Mimi. Her passion is helping women change their lives and bodies through health and fitness. She is a professional bodybuilder, ISSA certified personal trainer, and internationally renowned paintball player. She's also a successful entrepreneur and business owner, and today she's going to be teaching us how to get COVID fit instead of COVID fat. Welcome, Kat!
Yeah. I mean, how many of you watching, and Casey, maybe you have experienced this too. I know I have. You're in your home, your kitchen's right there, and things call out to you. And the stressors of the pandemic, the stressors of maybe having your family now in your home with you, having a parent, having to be the teacher, as well as mother, as well as wife. There's just so many pressures that both women and men are going through right now. And so I'm really excited to be here with you today and be able to just talk about what strategies and tools people can use to stay fit, both physically, but also mentally and emotionally.
Girl, my pantry has gotten a name. It's Patty the Pantry, and we cannot talk.
She has a name?
Because Patty the Pantry needs to go in timeout now.
You could install a lock.
I mean, I could, but would that really stop me?
True. It could be. We could go down a rabbit hole of conversation around this right now. My brain was ready to go there with you.
Just in case they didn't see, please show off your shirt one more time.
It says CKDM, which stands for Coach Kat, Dr. Mimi, and then it's hashtag COVID Fit.
I absolutely love that. So I know that you've been doing a lot of outside workouts. I see all your Instagram posts and all that stuff. And I see you wear that. Do people talk to you about that? Is that a great conversation starter for you?
Totally. They don't see the CKDM, they see the COVID Fit. And they're like, oh, I like your tank top. And every time I hear it, I'm like, thanks, I should be selling these. No, but I think it's just a great reminder for us all that in the midst of COVID, we can take steps towards more fitness.
Yeah, definitely. During this whole break, I've definitely put a priority as getting myself back on track with health and fitness and really self-love and getting more strong in my body. So I absolutely love that you're here with us today because we're going to be going over so many cool tips about not only how to be strong in your body, but also how to be healthy in your body, and some routines and stuff that you do.
Yeah, I mean, and so outside of just COVID, typically I work with women, a lot of medical professionals who right now are our heroes. But a lot of women that feel like they don't have the time, they're frustrated that they think they know what to do, they can't get themselves to do it. Why can't I just get myself to eat this way? Why can't I just get myself to work out this many hours? Or they can't stick with it. So how my mother and I, how we help women and how we help ourselves, those are two very similar things. We walk the talk. But we help women specifically learn tools, systems, and strategies so that they can be successful no matter what life throws at them. One of my clients, her name is Kathy, she said to me, a lot of people in my life are, talking about gaining the quarantine 15, and I'm over here and I've lost 15 pounds.
That's amazing because you've already set her up with the proper tools and techniques that she already had in place. So when she had an unexpected situation pop up, she was like, I'm going to take advantage of this.
Yeah, exactly. Life can throw you curveballs, but it's having the right tools, systems, mindset so that you can just become flexible and adapt your strategy without giving up the habit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious for you, what was one habit that you changed, like for activity that you maintained, even though it might have been a little different after COVID? What was one thing you did?
I actually got back into rollerblading to keep myself active. So I moved into a new house right before COVID, and I was unpacking all my stuff, and I found these old rollerblades that my friend had used to shoot a music video. And then he was like, "Hey, I'm not going to use these. Do you want them?" And I used to live on my rollerblades. I was such a rollerblader. I was always at Crystal Palace with my friends. That was my transportation. And when I was younger, like I could be on my rollerblades all day and like not even notice, right? It's like, this isn't a workout. This is just my transportation. So I got back on my rollerblades and I was going everywhere. And I realized how many of the small muscle groups that those work that like you don't normally work.
Oh
And
my
it was
gosh.
so amazing. So that's one of the habits now that I have been loving because of COVID, because I get a new place to rollerblade around. I have a gorgeous neighborhood that I just get to be, in nature and enjoying the freedom. I feel like a kid again. Like I have a car, I could go anywhere I want, but I feel more free and active on my rollerblades when I go out of the house and I'm like, where am I going today? It's so much fun.
Yeah, I love that. So you're just a walking, talking example of the habit is more important than the intensity or whatever that specific thing was. So that same flexibility that you did rather innately or intuitively, a couple of the ladies that are working with me right now, they joined right before COVID hit. We had them on gym-based programs. COVID happened, gyms were closed, and it was a difficult transition to go from in your head, you need the gym to do your fitness lifestyle. All of a sudden now it's like, okay, I'm going to transition to home workouts. The flexibility isn't there. It looks like we've got someone joining us.
Oh, yeah, that's our production assistant.
Oh, cool. So I was like, who is this? Surprise. But the mindset of flexibility of I can be active, I can do a workout that will still make a difference. That mindset and that belief, they aren't there. So when you lose the gym, this is what I believe, a lot of women and men have lost the gym and now they're stuck with home workouts that they don't believe will be effective, that they don't really like doing because they have no accountability or support. And there's too many distractions and they don't know if what they're doing is even right for them. So why try it all? Like there's so many excuses.
Well, that, and like there a lot of people that I've talked to on that subject, like they go to the gym and that's when they can be in that zone. They can switch their mind to focusing on that. But from home, it's hard for them to make the time for it, to stay with it, and to actually do as much work as they would have done in the gym. So how are we getting around that?
It all starts with you believing that you can do it and believing that just trusting flexibility.
I love that.
It will be harder. It's not going to lie. It might be harder. It might be harder to get motivated. It might be harder not to do all the little chores around the house that you see, and to set aside 20 minutes and just dedicate that to you doing your best, even with your kids running and jumping on you, or mom, I want to like play too, or your cat or whatever. But you just saying, all right, I'm going to do my best for this 20 minutes. I'm going to honor myself. That is me respecting myself, and I'm going to do the best I can.
I love that you only need the 20 minutes.
Doing it and then believing that it will make a difference.
Mm-hmm. Because mind over matter, right? Like if you don't think it's going to work, then it's not going to work.
If you believe it won't matter, then what's driving you to do it? You're not going to do it.
Exactly. No, I know. It's funny too, because like there's a lot of people that like maybe they didn't have a fitness routine. Maybe they weren't healthy before this, but during this time, a lot of us have reevaluated who we want to be and how we want to be going forward. So this conversation isn't just for people who already had a fitness and health routine. It's also for the people who have realized that they want to take charge of their health now. So this is going to be a great conversation for the people who are picking up new habits right now, and we can really build a great foundation for them so they don't start bad habits, so that they can start on the right path right away.
Yeah. Do you mind if I rant for a second?
Please rant, girl. Get it.
Okay. So the diet industry has conditioned us that we need to restrict all the food, chicken and broccoli only. Deprive yourself. You're never eating pizza again if you want to lose weight. that you have to go extreme, all in. It's all or nothing. That diet, the diet culture has conditioned us to believe that. In the gym, you're either doing your hour and a half workout or 20 minutes, like why even go? And you better be going 6 days a week, because if you go 5, well, you just fell off the wagon. So F it. So this all or nothing mentality has been programmed into us in a really similar way as like body fat, body dysmorphia has been programmed into us. So diet culture has programmed into us this perfectionism, this impossibility of a healthy lifestyle, because if healthy means we can never have ice cream and that we have to be perfect all the time and that it's going to take all this time and energy and effort that we don't have, well, I'll never be able to have that. So that's what society, this culture is ingraining in us. So I invite even you, Casey, and today me, I invite myself as I'm talking to wipe the slate clean and say, hold on, what actions are going to support my life? And to take those actions, what beliefs do I need to have to drive me to doing those actions? So I need to believe that eating healthy can still include all my favorite foods. That eating healthy is fun and that my whole family can get on board. And it's not restriction. It's adding things in and it's enjoying and it's loving food, but it's also making things about the people. And that belief will help you take more consistent action of healthier eating over the rest of your life. So would you rather sprint for 3 weeks and lose 15 pounds, or would you rather pace yourself and maybe take a few detours because you had a birthday and like you had pizza, but it didn't derail you and you kept going and you reached your goal and then you just never had to look back?
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, would you rather sprint and lose 15 pounds and then gain it back in the next 15 days? Like,
Yeah.
and then some. And like, can we talk about the cheat meal term? Like, we need to stop framing that like that. It's ridiculous.
I despise it. I have two things. So I'm not a huge fan of this, but it is a tactic that works well with some people, and it's the concept of a treat meal. And different than a cheat meal does not imply that you did anything wrong. Cheat implies that you did something wrong, that you're cheating. The word, it's there. Whereas a treat, it might be a reward. It might be something just special or one-off or something that you don't do all the time. So there's just by changing the word around that meal, it helps you create a different mindset behind it. So that's tip number one. If you're saying cheat meal, I'd invite you to start saying treat meal and just see what it might change for you. Especially if you maybe struggle with binge eating. I don't want to touch eating disorders, but binge eating or any kind of interesting relationship with food and with yourself, try just changing that one word. If you're using cheat a lot, switch it to treat. But then here's the other cool concept is I like to call it the 80-20 rule. It's like 80% of the time we might be eating aligned with our goals, which might mean healthier options. And then 20% of the time, we're not cheating. Those are the treat options. Maybe it is having pizza with your family once a week and it's regular pizza. Or maybe it is going to having a couple different protein bars that normally you would rather eat whole food, but like those are treats for you and you put those in. Or having chips and salsa on Taco Tuesday night.
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday, because it's part of life. So the 80-20 concept is one that does work really well. It's not like 80% of the time I'm perfect and 20% of the time F it. It's 80% of the time I'm still loving what I'm doing, but it's like more aligned with my goals. 20% of the time it's still aligned with my goals and I'm loving it even more because it's all these fun foods that I like to eat. Either way, you're moving towards your goals and you're in a different mindset than the efforts and the perfectionism.
Yeah, and the punishing yourself and holding yourself to this regimen that is so out of your comfort zone, and doing something that you don't like and forcing yourself to because you think that that's what you need to do. It's like things can be so much better. We all are living our lives and we need to live them happily and healthily. So if we're not happy about how we're living it healthily, how is that helping us?
Exactly. And here's the thing is, I hear this all the time. I speak to a lot of women, and they're unhappy, and they talk about the number that they want to lose. Well, if I lost 50 pounds, I'd be happy. And I ask you to peel it back one more layer. It's like, so if you lost 50 pounds, what in your life would be different? How would you feel? What would you be able to do that you feel like you can't do right now? And often the answer that we uncover is they would have more happiness in their life. They'd have more freedom in their life. And those are, when you think about that, happiness and freedom, not having those two things feels like a violation. And imagine feeling that violated, that you yourself feel like you put yourself there, that you pulled those things from yourself by becoming whatever you are. So that is a whole new level of guilt and shame and unhappiness that we're then trying to soften the pain of all of that, which the easiest thing to soften is either with food, drugs, or some other type of numbing, alcohol, binge watching Netflix. I have so much to say on this.
Good. I love it.
But the thing is, like, it's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's not your fault, Casey. It's not anyone that's listening, watching this, that has a weight loss goal or would like to feel differently about their body, more confident, more comfortable in your own clothes, having more energy, having it not be such a challenge to get up and down off the floor, being able to reach behind your dryer to fix something. I just had a client with that celebration. Being able to do a squat with weight on their back, doing a deadlift, feeling stronger, not having to worry about a seatbelt extender on the airplane, be just like this plethora of going golfing and walking 18 holes and having it be no problem because your stamina is increased, kicking butt on P90X workouts that used to gas you after 5 minutes. Like, all of these things, these are what we want. And you, whoever you are watching this, and I feel like I'm speaking this to you and I'm speaking it to myself, because we all need to hear ourselves, hear it from us. But you can have all those things and you deserve them. And whatever guilt, shame, or whatever is holding you where you are right now, like, I give you permission to release yourself of that so that you can start moving forward.
Absolutely. And it's all about just making small percentages forward. Like, we can't expect to have all new habits in a day. So like, if we can just take these little baby steps, and just like you said before, take the 20 minutes to ourselves, right? 20 minutes to invest in ourselves and our routine and our body, and to be stronger in our mind and our body, then after a while, it's not going to be 20 minutes anymore, because we're going to enjoy it so much that it's just going to get longer, versus you forcing yourself to do something for an allotted amount of time. And then right when it hits that like 45-minute mark, you're like, okay, I've been here 45 minutes, I'm done. Okay, good. No, you lose yourself because you feel so good in what you're doing, and you start looking forward to it because of the feeling that you get afterwards. That's what we're going for, right?
Absolutely.
So how do we get there, Kat?
Yeah. So it's so funny. I'm saying some of these things and they all have the word rule in them, but I'm not about rules, but guides. So, but I have a tool called the 1% rule. 1% of your day is 15 minutes. And what I would ask each of you is, right now, whatever you're doing for activity, try to be active for 1% more of your day, 15 more minutes. And with this tool, I ask that it does not have to be all at once. You can split it up however you like. And you use this tool in the back of your mind so that as you move throughout your day, you're looking for ways to move a little bit more. If you're working from home and you realize you sit for hours at a time, set an alarm whatever's realistic for you, and get up and just move. Maybe you walk outside and walk 1 block around the house and it's 5 minutes. Maybe you just get up and you turn on one song, and after that one song you get and jamming out dancing, you get back to work. Just focus using that 1% rule to heighten the awareness of how long have I been sitting and how can I just get up and move my body without these great expectations of massive effort and energy and time, and I must have an hour and I must be in the right mindset and do all of the things really strong, right? Like all the things. Instead, like, cool, I've been sitting. Let me just get up, and then patting myself on the back for moving.
Mm-hmm.
There's this, it leads me back to habits, how we build habits. So with habits, there's the 3 R's. There's the reminder, there's the routine, and then there's the reward. And our brain, half of what we do every day, if not more, is all on autopilot. It's a series of these reminders, the routine or the behavior, the habit, and then the reward. Our brain must have the reward because the reward says, you should remember that one. It felt good. It was good for you. Do it more. Like, that's the reward's voice. So the reminder is, and if you don't make the reward big enough, your brain's going to be like, no, definitely not. Let's not remember that one. Just waste of time. Pump in more beliefs about why that sucked. Like, that's what your brain's going to do, right? It's serious.
It's true. It's so true.
It's so true. So if you can create a positive experience and acknowledge the habit and then really pump up the reward, even if it feels super silly and dumb, patting yourself on the back, being like, woohoo, I did it. Like posting on Lady Prob's Facebook, like, I did it, guys. Like, whatever is going to help you feel more excited and happy about it, you're going to do it more often because it felt good. Just like what you said, Casey.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And you know what? If you're having a hard time knowing how long it's been since you've been sitting, there are so many tools and resources that you can use, like setting an alarm. But mine is a little bit more involved than that because I wouldn't remember to set the alarm in the first place. So I have my little Fitbit that every hour that I am just sitting, it monitors it for me so that it vibrates. And I'm like, oh, cool. I get to move now, instead of like, oh, I have to go do something. I'm like, oh, I get to go take this break. I get to switch something up. I get to go have a dance party with myself.
Yes. Getting excited for it and being really aware of how we're speaking to ourselves. And I know you're very good at this. I've heard it out loud, but I've also witnessed it and assumed what you're doing because I can see it, I can feel it. But you back up your actions with positivity, whether it's exerted or it's just kind of within you. And it reinforces that routine, that habit. So tool number 1 of today is the 1% rule, is get up and move for at least 15 minutes, 1% of your day. Do that every day. Maybe like get a calendar and check it off each day. And when you get to the end of the week, pump yourself up. And then make small changes moving forward. So if you're crushing that 1%, you now take every morning 15-minute walk first thing. Consider, here's a couple options. You could add 5 minutes to that walk, or exertion. You can maybe walk a little faster. So you could still stick with that 15 minutes, but maybe instead of your casual walk where you weren't really focused on how hard you were walking, maybe then you say, all right, if a scale is 1 to 10, 1 being very easy, 10 being very hard, rate of perceived exertion. And I think casually I'm at like a 2. I'm going to shoot for a 3 this next week and give it a week. So you can change how much energy you're putting into that activity to make that activity even more effective, physically, as well as that mental piece. Because that 1% for that specific day, if you're casually walking, it might not make a huge impact in like how many more calories you can eat, but it's going to make you feel good. It's going to get you outside, get your endorphins going. It's going to get your blood pumping. by you completing that 15-minute task, you're going to feel, I believe, you're going to feel accomplished. I hope you give yourself permission to feel accomplished, and then it will compound throughout your day.
So question really quick, Kat. I absolutely love that. I have heard a few people say, I don't have enough time for even 15 minutes. So,
do a minute.
So, right? Exactly.
I do not discriminate around how many minutes are done at once. Like, do 1 minute.
1 minute at a time.
You have 30 seconds. Show me 30 seconds and then tell me you don't have it. Try it before you tell me you don't have it. Here's just something to ask yourself is if you are finding yourself saying, I don't have time, replace that statement with, I am not willing to make it a priority. See how it feels, and see if you are able to make negotiations somewhere in your day to create more time. And that's just going to be something I ask you to own. If you truly do not have time even after prioritizing it, that is something to own. I have never come across that though, ever. As soon as it's prioritized, time is found.
You know, that's really one thing that I have found during this quarantine is I will no longer allow myself to say that anymore, that I don't have time, because now, even with the perceived time that I have, I still find ways to take up that time. So it's always my choice. And I have learned that now, that everything is my choice, from when I wake up in the morning, what time I'm waking up, what time I'm going to sleep, how long I'm spending in the shower, all of it. It's all a choice. So I am not allowing myself to say I don't have time anymore, because it's true. It's not that I don't have time. It's just that I'm not prioritizing it, or it's not important enough to me to make time for it. So I have to really look at why I'm saying I don't have time for that, and if it's a lie to myself and who I'm saying it to.
If it's a lie to yourself, because saying I'm not prioritizing it or it's not important to me feels pretty, like, can I say shitty on here? Cool, shitty. Feels pretty shitty. Because then, if it was me, then the next thought I would have is, I'm not worth that time. I don't respect myself enough to make that time, to find that time. Like, here's the neat thing. Activity, nutrition, sleep, water, those are all real basic fundamentals of self-care. Those are all actions that you can take in self-respect. In self-respect. And if you're not consistently taking them, you know, it's an opportunity for you, like you just said, Casey, to ask yourself, why is it so hard for me to prioritize my basic needs? My basic needs. And then if food is being used as out of boredom or numbing or stress or emotional eating, what's the pain that I'm covering up? That's what it comes down to. What's the pain? What's the self-inflicted, often self-inflicted pain, and then usually compounded by external forces. We see this a lot with abusive relationships, abusive work environments, abusive family environments. There's, you know, our own beliefs get impacted by the environment we're around. That's why they say you become the 5 top people that you spend the most time with.
Your circle of influence. Mm-hmm.
Your circle of influence, exactly. So that always isn't available to some people, right? Like kids can't just, sorry, you guys suck as a top 5. I'm out of here. So, you know, right? Peace, parents. Kat said my top 5 needs to elevate. Peace.
Yeah, and they can always say, like, hey, I'm sick of eating pizza every day, guys. Can you feed me some, like, carrots? Yeah, they don't have that choice, you know? It's like...
Well, and kids aren't going to choose that. They'll never choose that. Primitive brain is rocking and rolling when you're a kid.
Although I did love carrots as a kid. I was a strange kid. I would totally choose carrots over pizza most days.
Did you ever watch the episode of Magic School Bus where Arnold eats like a ton of carrots and turns green because of the beta carotene? Yeah.
Oh
Miss
my
Frizzle,
God.
what's up?
I used to love. I learned so much. Like that was one of the best educational shows because it was so entertaining and it was so
So
educational.
entertaining.
There was so much information packed into every single show. Oh, I miss stuff like that. I love that.
Yeah.
No, about all of that, the eating, but whether it's based on boredom or emotions or things like that. One thing that I heard you say in the past is when you think that you're hungry, drink water instead, right? Because your body, it could be like a false flag, right? So like you could think that you're hungry, but you're actually thirsty.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. So you just said it perfectly. So again, I'm going to go back to those 4 basic, I call them the pillars of basic self-care. So nutrition, activity, water, and sleep. And if you can kind of create a baseline for what you need, if shit hits the fan, if COVID happens, if there's a next time, hopefully not COVID. How much water should I be drinking each day? Bare minimum. How much sleep should I be trying to get? Like, what's the minimum I can function on? How can I set myself up for getting at least that much sleep? Activity, 15 minutes a day, 1% rule. And then with nutrition, that's a little trickier. It gets complicated. What I say, at least a baseline with nutrition, is prioritizing that each meal has protein in it. If you do nothing else, prioritize protein with each meal. Protein is going to do so much for you. My major reason I want more protein, it helps you maintain lean body mass. Your muscle that you have, it helps you maintain it and build it. But here's the cool part is, let's say that every morning you eat cereal and you really don't want to make too many changes. You don't want to remove things from your life. You want to add things. Eat your cereal and also have a protein shake, because that protein is going to help minimize the insulin spike, that sugar spike that you have from that cereal. And instead of I'm just going to break it down real basic. So instead of having energy like this, boop, that protein is going to help it flatten the curve. I'm using so much pandemic language. Flatten the curve.
Our new normal, cat. Just get used to it.
I know. So that bowl of cereal and that protein drink will help you have more sustained, consistent energy for a longer period of time.
Is it better
of getting hungry in like 2 more hours and being like, oh, I need more carbs, I need filling, I need to feel better? Prioritize protein and see if that makes a difference.
Is it based on the person, whether animal-based protein or plant-based protein is better? Is that like something that really is like dependent on the person?
That's gonna be person to person and a lot of personal belief within that. Yep.
Good to know. Yeah, that was a question that was asked on our lovely Facebook page by Danny.
Cool. But there's amazing plant-based proteins out there. There's a wide variety of fake meat options, but if you don't even want to go that route, you can go through like pea protein. There's just a whole wide variety of protein powders and items that are made where you can get protein.
Oh yeah, science on that now is ridiculous. They're coming out with so many ways that you can get protein. It's amazing.
It's really cool. But like the 4 pillars of self-care, if you can like write those down, or so again, activity, do the 1%. Nutrition, some amount of protein with each main meal. Water, typically if you take your body weight and divide that in half, that's what you should be drinking in ounces. But that's just a recommendation. If right now, I'm going to use an extreme example. If right now for the whole day you only drink this 1 cup of water, a goal for you might be drinking 1 1/4, adding in 1/4. And then when you're nailing that, add in another 1/4. And then over the next couple weeks, maybe you're up to 2 cups. So if you just try to immediately go from this to this, you're probably going to be hating life. You're going to be peeing so much that you're telling yourself this is never going to work. And again, we go back to building a new habit. So if you're trying to build a new habit and it's unrealistic and it's too far off from what you're currently doing, your brain is going to tell you, heck no, sister, we are not remembering that one. Feed all the icky reasons we should not remember this to her and negatively reinforce it.
Right, exactly, because our brain wants us to be happy, right? And it wants us to survive, and it's like on fight or flight. But it's like if it's doing something it doesn't like, it's always going to feed your brain negative responses to try to get you to stop doing it.
Exactly. So so activity, water, nutrition, sleep. You got those 4.
And that all falls into having a plan, right? Which is our tip number 2.
Yeah, having a plan, having some structure. But what I wanted to mention is, if I can recall it, it was a fleeting thought. Come back.
Fleeting thought. Oh, come back. I know you were there at one time.
Well, let's just move forward, and if it comes, it comes.
That's what she said. So, lady problems.
Lady problems.
But like it's funny because like when you have a plan, it's so much easier to stick to it versus just trying to throw little things in, which is great. I've heard a lot of people with the excuse of being too tired to have a better like exercise or nutrition schedule. And it's funny because when I started exercising more regularly and doing things that I loved, just having dance parties, going rollerblading, like not weightlifting or doing like 70 squats and killing myself, right? But like when I started doing the things that I really loved, I actually had more energy. So I invite everybody to frame it differently to be where, oh, I'm so tired. Well, let's see what could be causing this. And if I do get more nutrition and physical exercise in, will I be less tired?
And honestly, drinking more water would be the very first thing I would try to problem solve. Like 80% of people are dehydrated and it leads to fatigue, headaches, hunger, but it's thirst, low energy, not sleeping very well, like a lot of problems. And then you try to eat carbs to fix it. You try to rest and binge watch like something because like I just need to relax. Drink water, pump some water in there consistently. Oh, I got it. I remember what I was going to say. Woo! So, small, realistic changes that compound over time are how you are going to make the biggest changes the fastest. And why I say that, the biggest changes the fastest are going to come from small, realistic changes that are compounded and increased over time because you're actually going to stick with it. A woman that works with me, she's been working with me 8 months now. She was going through one of her assessments that I send out and reflecting on it. And she was just like, she had this overwhelming sense of kind of like relief. And I said, can you explain that? And she said, well, everything that I'm doing right now, I can do forever. Like none of this is just to lose the weight. All the steps I'm taking right now are what I can keep doing in some capacity. There might have to be little tweaks made. If life throws you curveballs, remember the strategy needs to change. She's like, I can do this forever now. And all the ladies that were in the gym that now have moved to their homes and being creative, sometimes with no equipment because bands from China weren't arriving in any sort of prompt fashion. Now they all have a new belief. And that new belief is, heck, I can continue improving my fitness, continue losing weight, and stay on track with no equipment at all, which means vacations, travel, whatever. My gym's closed. I'm at a friend's gym. I can make it work. It's flexibility.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's amazing to me how many body weight exercises I've been doing now because like my friends will go live and they'll do body weight exercises together so that we hold each other accountable. And
Super
it's
fun.
amazing, dude. You can hold a pencil out in front of you for 3 minutes and you'll feel the burn, man. Like it's absolutely amazing. So I love that. Yeah, we are now empowered to take charge no matter what supplies we have or do not have. So that's an absolutely amazing point.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's like, I don't have time is one of the biggest. So here's a couple of the biggest excuses I hear. And I say excuses, and that feels harsh, but it is. And you could also see it as a problem or something that you struggle with, a challenge, but really it's an excuse. So I don't have time. I know what to do, but I can't get myself to do it, or I can't afford it. And the can't afford it one is a really, sometimes it stabs me in the heart hearing it from, especially people who really can't afford not to make the change if they want to be happy, to be able to travel the world and actually walk, to not be in a wheelchair, to get off all the medication that they're on. And I can't afford it. It's, our health, our body, our mind, the relationship we curate with ourselves. How can we not afford to spend 15 minutes moving our bodies each day to do that? How can we not afford to prioritize setting ourselves up for getting good sleep so we can feel good throughout the day? How can we afford not to 80% of the time fuel our bodies with fun, healthy foods? How can we not afford to make some effort to drink a bare minimum amount of water? 64 ounces, bare minimum. I mean, it's relative, but that could be your guideline. Right. 64 ounces. Like, how can you not afford to take those actions if you can't afford to invest financially in accountability and in support? Invest in those actions. You can take them off this call and go implement them without ever talking to me again. Mm-hmm. And that is one of the best investments of time, energy, and effort that you will ever make, because it's in yourself. And it's in that desire for wanting happiness in our lives, for wanting freedom in our lives. We have to invest in daily actions to create those things.
Well, and so many people feel like they're just caught up in the daily struggle and the daily grind, and they're in this pattern, right? And they can't break this cycle. And it's funny because then they get burnt out, and then they're having all these health issues, and they're not feeling good in their bodies, and they're wondering why. And it's like, because they weren't taking the time to invest in themselves, because we only have one body, and like, we have to keep it healthy and strong for as long as we can, or else we're not going to survive until the length of time we want to. But we think that like we're just these Terminator bodies, and we're like, oh no, I don't feel it right now, so what I'm doing right now isn't affecting me in an adverse way. Like myself, I have lived in Las Vegas for 28 years, and one of the hardest things for me to do has been to drink that minimum amount of water. I have to have something next to me at all times where there's water in it, or I will zone out and I will forget. So it's hard to remember certain things, but again, like the habit stacking, small improvements every day to get you to where you want to be.
Absolutely. I mean, and what's it costing you not making those changes? Mm-hmm. So this is a really hard conversation to have, because it's not easy to put in a monetary amount on what it's costing you, but I'm going to relate it to business. So if you decide to call into work sick and you don't get a paid sick day, it's costing you one day of work to call out, right? Your bank account will be less that much, or your next paycheck. So by you choosing, and it's compounding. So if you constantly were calling out, you're going to be getting paid less and less and less and less and less. The reverse is if you choose not to take an action for yourself, or not to prioritize yourself, or not to admit how unhappy you are with your body the way it is, or admit the fears that you have of, if you don't make any change, what will your health look like 5 or 10 years from now? Who would be impacted? Like all of those questions. How is having even 10 pounds makes a huge difference. How is having 10 pounds on your body impacting your life? And if it's not, power to you, girl. Like, there's nothing wrong with having 10 pounds more. If you're happy in your body, and your body, your relationship with food, your relationship with exercise, and your relationship with yourself, if those things aren't negatively affecting you in any way, like, keep going. If you're taking those actions and whatever, keep going. But if there's a pain there that you're trying to like just hide from because you don't have time, and you just don't have time. You don't have the mental capacity. You don't have, like stick your head in the sand like an ostrich, right? Like, oh, I'll do it when my kids go to college. I'll do it when I pay off my car loan. I'll do it when that's saying I'm okay with suffering, struggling, and being miserable because I'm not willing to get creative and figure out how to prioritize myself. And that's the harshest way to put it, but it sometimes needs to be heard in a harsh way.
Well, and how much of that has to do with our mindset? Because I feel like without a strong mindset in what our goals are and what our pain points are and really understanding where everything's coming from, we can't really figure that out and get to that place.
Honestly, no, very rarely does someone who is experiencing pain from relationship with food or excess weight, very rarely do they understand the problem itself. Why? Because with pain, our bodies detach from it often so that we don't have to face it and deal with it because it's too painful. So in order to get a strong why, it sucks. We have to dig. You have to get real. You have to face yourself in the mirror and be willing to see what you see your reflection.
I think a lot of people are facing themselves more now in the past, few weeks during this whole thing because we've had to spend so much time with ourselves. So I think that is definitely a huge piece of what's going on right now and what people are struggling with. And there have been so many more domestic abuse cases. There've been way more mental health upsetness things happening because of this. So we are facing ourselves and we are numbing and we are avoiding and we are taking all of these other actions to not look at ourselves. It's like we're usually so busy and in the hustle and bustle of our daily life. And now it's like, oh, wait, I'm going to be with myself. I don't like that.
I hear I'm so busy and I wonder, what are you hiding from?
Wow.
I get curious. Maybe nothing, but maybe there's something. And it's not out of judgment that I wonder, but I just wonder. I'm a very curious human. Just out of, anyone I meet, I want to understand people better and just be able to empathize or sympathize and just connect human to human more. But it's like, what would you do if you weren't busy? What would you feel? And a lot of times it's anxiety and fear. And I will never not be busy.
Or with other people. Like I know a lot of people who have to be around other people or else, like you said, they get that anxiety, they get the loneliness feeling, they start feeling depressed, they start thinking they're having too much to think instead of too much to drink. It's hard for them too because they don't want to have those conversations with themselves. They want the external stimulus so that they don't have to face anything. It's hard.
Yeah, it honestly, it's really hard. It's really hard. My mom came up with these 8 pillars, pandemic self-care, 8 pillars of health. And do you mind if I read them?
No, please. I love your mama. She is so smart.
It's actually, let me see if I can show it. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, please share it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, how do I present without being so big?
I think if you click share screen and then you can pick like the tab that it shows, I believe. I can't see what you're seeing though.
Yeah, okay, I got this. Technology's not hard.
No, we figure it out. Everything's figure outable.
Everything's figure outable.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah, sneak peek. So.
Oh my gosh, it's actually the pandemic. Oh, it's spelled out. Ah.
How cool is that? So having a plan, having accountability, preparing for nighttime. And nighttime, basically, my mother and we love to say that sundowning occurs in the evening. And sundowning is a phrase, if you haven't heard it before, it's commonly used with elders that can have great mental cognitive function early in the day. And then as the day wears on, we have only so many decision make. Our brain muscle just starts to get real sloppy.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. And that happens with all of us. In the evening, you might have no problem sticking to your nutrition plan throughout the day. And then the evening might be where challenges occur. So nighttime, making a plan for that. Having a very thorough diet, and diet in the terms, and not in terms of restriction, but just balance, that 80-20 rule. Uh, Having exercise in there, that's that 1%. Mindset. I love like quick 5-minute meditation, or sometimes listening to a podcast is just enough me time, learning or just freeing my brain from the regularity of life. That helps me with mindset, or connecting with a girlfriend, calling someone, FaceTiming with your parents, whatever. Mindset, keeping that mental health in the forefront. Intimacy. How can we create intimacy virtually? Right? And then cortisol is another huge one. It's how is this stress impacting us? The obvious ways are obvious, and the subtle and the unobvious ways are very hidden. And so cortisol can affect how we burn and store body fat, it affects everything in our body. But this is her pandemic. 8 pillars of of health. And I think it's really cool to see this because each piece is important.
Absolutely. Well, and especially with, just like you said, how can we do some of these things virtually? So accountability and intimacy, I kind of wanted to delve into that just a little bit more, because I feel like right now it's hard for a lot of people. So like what is a good way to structure the accountability and intimacy part of those?
Okay, I'm gonna separate them. So with accountability, it could be something you could hire a coach. You could reach out to me and see if we might be a good fit. Totally plug in right there. I'll make sure that Casey has a way for you if you want to just hop on a quick call with me and we can talk about what your goals, challenges are, and see if we might be a good fit. And if we're not, I'll do my best to point you in the right direction. But having accountability, and that might be in the form of a coach, a mentor. It could be partnering up with a friend, and maybe you guys come up with a plan, and then you come up with maybe a weekly accountability check-in. Or you track your food. That's another form of accountability. You track your activity. You have a workout book. You write all your workouts in it. So accountability can come in many forms, but it's picking one, testing it, assessing its effectiveness, and adjusting if it is not working. I'm all about testing and tweaking in everything that I do. Testing and tweaking. So that would be accountability. The intimacy piece of this is going to be, I think I'm going to split this into kind of like singles, or people who are home and not in contact with anyone, versus people who are in a household. Those of you that are in a household, intimacy, there needs to be time set aside where you can give full attention to those kids, where they know, okay, mom's present with me right now. That's intimacy. And same thing for your partner. If you have a partner in that household, is creating a space and honoring the relationship, that you can just, maybe it's snuggling and watching a movie for 15 minutes before the kids run in and like hop on your bed and like, now you don't have that time. But it's scheduling and making it a priority to connect with those people. Now, if you're solo, like, hey, I am, we have to create a virtual space to be present and connect intimately. The worst thing you can do, if you and a friend have set aside like friend time, and you are that's time for you guys to really honor the friendship and connect and feel fulfilled and be intimate, the worst thing you can do is be completely distracted for the whole time you have scheduled. Like, honor that friend and give them your attention. Listen, ask questions. When they're listening to you and asking questions, be vulnerable and share. Tell them how you're really feeling, if it's someone who has earned the right to hear your thoughts and your vulnerabilities. But that's how creating intimacy and connection. I see can be done in kind of those two different areas. And there's other ways and other scenarios, but it's setting aside time, honoring the other person with your attention and with your focus and with your love, and then making that regular. I have a couple friends that we have Mondays and Fridays at 9 a.m. is friend time. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 a.m. I know, East Coast, West Coast. 5 a.m. is friend time for 30 minutes. And it's working great. It's so cool. And we think we're going to just keep doing it even after COVID.
I love that. Well, yeah, because like it's so much easier to connect this way with a lot of people. You can just get on the same space and have that intimacy, and you can really structure it yourself without outside factors like going for happy hour or going, for wherever out in public, to where there's going to be distractions, just like you said. So you can really structure that intimacy yourself, and I love that.
I was leaving some space. I was embracing the silence.
Ooh, I love, what was that from Pulp Fiction when she said comfortable silences?
Yeah, comfortable silences are where creativity grows.
Ooh, I love that. I'm writing that down. That's amazing. Yeah, no, so we talked about how to get moving with 1% of your day, and the 4 really important things to keep us in a good state, which is sleep, nutrition, water, and activity, right?
Yep.
I got all 4 of those.
Water, activity. Yep. Mindset's that 5th one.
Right? Exactly. Yep. We talked about mindset and the awesome 8 pillars of health for the pandemic. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on? I know that we're running out of time, and I just wanted to be really cognizant of that for you, because I know that you have clients and things to attend to as well.
Thank you. Thank you. What I would just say is take imperfect action. That's a mantra or a phrase that I just, pound into ladies I work with, because if you can take imperfect action, maybe you go through the drive-through and you wish you hadn't. Well, let me eat half the bun or have a small fry instead of medium. That's one little thing. That's one little victory for yourself. Maybe it's a sip of water when you wouldn't have even had a sip. It's just getting up and standing up and then sitting back down. That's imperfect action. Just take imperfect action. And when you do that consistently, you will start to create changes in your life. Take imperfect action frequently. And what I have been doing, so we have Coach Kat and Dr. Mimi on Facebook, CKDM. I've been posting workouts. Just today I did a Facebook Live where I did a video tutorial walking through a beginner home workout where you need no equipment. So I would check that out. If you're considering like, how do I get started? I don't know what to do. Go over there, check it out, do it. And just get started one step at a time.
That's amazing. I love that. I'm going to go there right now and see what that's about. And then I'm going to post the link for everybody just in case they can't find it. And then you said that they can all find you with the Coach Kat and Dr. Mimi is the page on Facebook, but where else can they find you if they want to connect with you more?
Yep. So our website is Coach Kat and Dr. Mimi. And Casey, I will make sure you have that link to post somewhere. But you can check that out. You can subscribe to our mailing list. So I try to make sure that we're putting out just a bunch of valuable content, inspiration, ideas, tips, videos on our mailing list. And also on our website, you can book a call with me there. Just send me a DM if you have questions. My personal Instagram is Katherine Secor. I'll let Casey post those links.
Gotcha.
But we're across, basically you can find us everywhere. We're everywhere. Join us, become part of our tribe. Let's get COVID fit.
Yes, I love it. Yep, COVID fit, not COVID fat. COVID fit, not COVID fat.
Actually, I have one thing to say about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so our title actually felt very conflicting for me, because the word, like us claiming ourselves as fat, bothers me to my core. Any of you listening, claiming that bothers me. It's telling our brain that we are something. Let's start telling your brain you're something you want to create. Because what we think, we create. What we think, we become. So By you getting up and walking for 15 minutes, doing the 1% rule, you are now in the COVID fit category. You have now just become COVID fit. You know why? Because you are taking steps towards improving yourself and your health and your fitness and your weight loss, whatever your goal is. Claim that I'm getting COVID fit. Claim it wherever you are. If you take one more sip of water, get one more hour of sleep, take one more little bite of protein. Yes, Casey, I like it. Cheers.
Cheers, girl. Waters.
That you're getting COVID fit, and I'm excited for you, and I hope that you guys reach out and share your thoughts about this podcast and what we talked about today. And Casey, thank you so much for being my friend, number one, and then number two, just always having such purpose and passion in everything that you do and giving me this platform to share my passion and my purpose. So thank you.
Absolutely, girlfriend. You are always inspiring and motivating. All the content that Kat posts is so amazing. It really is. It makes me want to get outside, go work out, hang out with her and her mom in all the places. Definitely get on their mailing list. I will shoot that link over. There's so much good information that they shoot out there. They're such givers. Both Kat and her mom are such amazing people. They just want to help people actualize an amazing life for themselves. So yeah, from the minute I met Kat, I knew I wanted to be in her world, and I have never regret that any day after. So thank you so much for coming on, Kat. Love you so much. And I'm so glad that we got to have this conversation in the COVID fit gang. We're making a COVID fit movement.
We are COVID fit.
It's the
I don't know. I'm not selling tank tops or anything yet, but like, if you want one, hit me up. I'll try to figure it out.
I know. Yeah. I feel like now you're going to get a lot of like messages about the tank tops and the order. We're going to be like, we want COVID fit tops.
Yes. Let's start a movement.
Yes.
All right. Well, COVID out of this picture.
Yes, exactly.
Like.
All right, lovely. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And for everyone who tuned in, thank you so much. I can't wait to share more of my amazing experts and friends and having all of these wonderful conversations to help us get through all of the things that we face on a daily basis so that we can really do it together. I'm all about supporting. So if anybody needs anything or if there's a topic that you guys want to hit on, please reach out. Let me know if there's any questions that you have, and I will find somebody to come talk to about anything. Promise. I look forward to talking to you guys soon, and I will see y'all later. Have a great day, y'all.
Bye, y'all.